Hello. Today I'm going to show you a program I've written to draw horizontal directional drills and profiles. Here's a project I'm going to show you as an example. We have this wetland, have it delineated. I have these two cross pipes here on either side of the wetland, and we already have our pipeline alignment. It's already drawn in there and it's already stationed. I'm going to go to the profile. I've taken the liberty to create some views to toggle between the profile view and the plan view. So here we'll just switch to the profile. Originally we were going to open cut this wetland. I have the wetland marked here, where it starts and stops. I have my two cross pipes already drawn in the profile, and here is the pipeline as it was drawn for the open cut. So let's go back to our view. The way I normally locate where I want my directional drill to start and stop is I have Civil 3D objects created, structures that will give me a little ticker here, and I have one on the other side of the wetland here, and I draw that, and it's an object that will show up both in the plan and the profile, indicating to myself where I intend to make the drill start and stop. I put the objects on these structures onto no plot layers, so I can see where they are, but when it plots, nobody seeing the plans is the wiser. So now that I've decided where I want my entry and exit to be, I'm going to switch back to my profile. Okay. Now in the profile you can see this is the symbol here and here where I want my entry and exit pit to be. Alright, so I'm going to launch my command for horizontal directional drills. I'll type that in, MCS HDD. And this gives me a list of commands, all from that one command launch, that I will go through each item, show you how it works, what it's used for, from beginning to completion. The first thing is the info block. This is a pretty important item. It just inserts a symbol, a block with attributes that will keep track of all the information for the design of this drill. Okay, so I just type in I for insert, and it will just bring in the insertion block. Okay, I'm going to move this to where it's not competing so much. Actually, I have to exit my commands, and I'm going to move this to where it's not competing so much with everything else on the screen. This comes in on a layer that won't plot again, but it's good information. I'm going to show you the attribute block command, and I'm going to select that just to show you everything that's in this. This is keeping track of your entry point, your entry angle, your exit point, your exit angle, the vertical and horizontal scale of your profile, the depth, the first and second point of vertical intersection of your drill, the radius that is going to be attached to each PVI, and then there's a reference coordinate that tells the program where in your profile this is oriented, what station it's at, what elevation it's at. Okay, so I'm going to just say okay. Now we now have to get all the information about this drill into this information block. I'm just going to execute the same command again, and you see the next item is assign bears. So all you do is type A for assign bears. It now will go through querying you for the different things about this drill. It wants to know first the entry point. So I'm just going to come to my ticker where I gave myself a location, and I'm going to pick a point that's on the ground, and then it's going to ask me for the entry angle. Now drills, I think if you ask people you'll get different opinions, but I've done them anywhere from 8 to 15 degrees. So let's just go ahead and put in 9 degrees for both the entry and the exit point. So I'm going to pick the exit point. I'm going to put in 9 degrees. It's then going to ask me for a vertical scale, which in this drawing it's 1 inch equals 5 feet. The horizontal scale is 1 inch equals 40 feet. Now it wants to know the depth of each PVI. It does this in reference to the entry point that you pick for each part. So depth 1 would be the depth in reference from the entry point to the first PVI, and I'm just going to put 16 feet. Okay. Now the depth 2 will be the distance from the second entry, from the exit point to the second PVI, and I'm just going to go ahead and mark 16 feet. Now it wants to know the radius of the drills. This is the part that makes drills hard to sort of draw, because you have the two scales that's creating an exaggeration, and so that affects not only your entry and exit angle the way it's drawn, but also the way circles look. They look more like ellipses when they're done in profiles. Now, as far as the radius is concerned, this is sort of a function of the soil type, because at the time they're doing the bore, the pipe isn't even present. It's got to do with the soil and the drill bit, etc., etc. But as a rule of thumb, I usually use as a minimum twice the minimum bit of radius of the pipe that I'm using. Let's just go ahead for this exercise, and I'm going to key in a pretty generous number. Let's try 500 feet for both, and I'll show you why in a second. Now it wants the reference point. I'm going to just come down here, and I know this to be -30, and this is station 44 plus 0, 0. So I'm just going to pick the reference point. I'm going to pick this intersection. I'm going to tell it that it's -30, and then I'm going to tell it it's at station 4400. When you key in the station, don't add the plus symbol, just 4400. Now it wants to apply that to the information block. So now that I've selected this, it's now applied all this information to the information block. This is a good feature because you can come back later on and make changes to this information block. You can save it here at Don't Plot. You can even make copies of it if you want to have a couple of different designs. But in the end, whatever information is in that block, you can now execute the sketch command, which is the next item in the command list. Just type in S for sketch. Then it asks you to pick the HDD information block to obtain the HDD information to sketch in. So I'm going to select the block that I just applied all the variables, and I'm going to hit enter. And what it essentially does is it draws in a sketch of how that drill is going to look. Now the problem is, you can see here I've come out of the entry point and the exit point like I selected, but you can see I'm actually coming through both of these pipes. So that's a problem. We can do one of two things. We can try to increase the angle of the entry and the exit so that it misses these items. If the item was in part of this part of it, we could increase the depth to try to get under it. We can also move our points back, which would probably be the easiest, but in this case I'm going to show you how you can easily modify your design to give you different sketches. I'm now going to get out of my command. If I type in E or just hit enter, I will exit the command. And one thing I want to do, I'm going to try to just go ahead and increase this slope to 15 degrees. Okay, so I'm going to come here to the first entry angle, and I'm going to change it from 9 to 15. Simply, just easy as that. Just using normal edit attributes. I'm going to now go back into my command, MCS HDD. I'm going to just tell it I want to sketch again. I'm now going to pick the block which has that modified information, and you can see I'm now we got sort of a problem here because of the big radius. It's pushing that radius all the way up past the entry point. So that's pretty simple to modify. Let's go ahead and modify radius 1 to 200 feet, as long as this is possible for the pipe material you're using. And just to make this easier, I'm going to jump this one down to 300, the radius 2. Okay, now go back into my command, do a sketch. Now it's drawing it. You see, I've just now missed my pipe with this one. I'm not out of the entry point anymore, but I'm still hitting over here. Now you can see it's drawing each sketch right on top of each other. And this is a tool if you want to see the different designs, how they play into each other. You can leave them on, but there's actually a function here, pass final, pass out in, called delete. If you type in delete, it's going to erase whatever designs you've done. And now I'm just going to execute the sketch option again, select this again, and now it just draws me a nice sketch with no other problems. So you can see here I still have a problem here. Okay, I'm going to try to increase the angle on this side to clear this one. Maybe don't need so much as last time. 15 is a little bit of an extreme. So let's get out of the command by doing exit. I'm now going to hit the 9-degree exit angle, and I'm going to make it something else. I'm going to make it, let's make this one 12. Okay. Go back into my command. MCS HDD. Okay. Now I'm going to do another sketch. And we can now see we are good here. It's a little messy because of the old design. Let's delete that and sketch it again. Okay. And here we see we have done a pretty good HDD. Now, just for explanation's sake, let's we've gone to an extreme angle here of 15 degrees. We're barely missing this. Let's try bringing back our entry point. Now you can see, as far as these items are concerned, they're easy to edit just by editing the blocks with attributes. The entry angle, the exit angle, the depths are pretty easy. The radiuses are pretty easy, but one thing that would be pretty complicated is this X and Y for the entry and exit. So we have a command specifically to edit entry and exit points. Okay, and this is the out in. So all I'm going to do is type in O for out in. Okay, that asks me pick HDD entry point. I'm just going to back this one up just a little bit. Back it up to here. And I'm going to use the same exit point. I'm just going to even snap to the sketch I already have. Now it's wanting me to pick the HDD information block. And that has updated the X and Y of the two entry and exit points. And now all I have to do now is do another sketch. And we can see down here everything looks pretty much the same, but here we have backed this up. Now the only thing about modifying the entry and exit point is you now have to go back to the plan view and slide the entry point back and make sure you have room to actually do a drill in the place you've slid that back to. So let's go ahead and say that this design is good. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and delete the sketches, and I'm going to move to the final option. And this just draws in the same information as the sketch does. It just draws it in a more final way, using lines that will actually show up on a plot. It labels your entry and exit point. So you had an entry angle of 15 degrees. You had an exit angle of 12 degrees. It also shows you a 20-foot deep, 20-foot long, 1-foot deep representation of where maybe your drill pit would be on both sides. Draws that in there for you, labels your radiuses for you, and then also labels the length of the drill. So all you really have to do now is come in here and tie in the entry and exit, and you're done with your angle. You're done with your HDD. Now the last option that we haven't talked about is the reset delete. The thing about the HDD program is it remembers everything it draws. So if still now I wanted to modify the design, I only have to type in D for the delete option, and it erases it, whether it's a sketch or final. And it's going to do this until you reset the delete command. Now I'm going to go ahead and draw back in my final and let it do its thing. And if I want to go ahead and design another drill somewhere else, it would delete it here if I went to use the delete command there. So in the end, all I got to do is type in R for reset delete, and now it forgets everything it's drawn. If I try to do delete right now, it doesn't delete anything. Now if, say, I made a change to this, I'm going to get out of my command. I'm going to make the drill deeper, 20, 20. So now going from 16-foot depth to a 20-foot depth, I can now execute the same command, sketch, highlight. And you'll see it uses the same entry exit points, the same options, because all that's kept within this block, but it's deeper. But now if I use the delete command, it will actually delete the one it just done, but it won't do the one that was wiped out as part of the reset. So I hope this has helped you. If you got any questions, just let me know. Thank you.